Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Please join me for a pledge of allegiance. Yeah,
I had to find it right in the other room, right?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll.
Olivia Quintero. Here. Vito Campanelli. Vito is, out of town. Winifred Rodriguez. Mario Ramirez.
Here.
Liliana Alestis. Here. Sarah Andreas. Here. George Flores.
Here. All right, reading of communications. Are other than the FOIA report included in the public packet, are there any other communications?
There are no other communications.
All right, moving on, superintendent's report. Chris, have anything?
Yes, I do. And I just want to briefly remind everyone that, because we're doing dual with the Google Meets as well as in person, that if we had the microphones, it would give a lot of feedback for the families at home. So if anyone does have questions or we need to discuss anything, and for public comment, please make sure you project your voice. We tested it, there was just interference, so we thought it was best to go without the microphones for today. So for my superintendent's report, I just want to briefly update the board about the resolution that was approved by the Illinois State Board of Education, which came from the state superintendent, Carmen Ayala. And I just want to go over a few details about that. So the resolution adopted by the Illinois State Board of Education has given foundational guidance to districts on the minimal expectations related to the learning environment for the 2021-2022 school year. The resolution, a portion of it states, therefore be it resolved that the Illinois State Board of Education supports Illinois State Superintendent of Education, Dr. Carmen Ayala, in making the following declaration after the conclusion of the current academic school year. Subject to favorable public health conditions at the time beginning with the 2021-2022 school year, all schools must resume fully in-person learning for all student attendance days, provided that pursuant to 105 ILCS 5/10-30 and 105 ILCS 5/34-18.66, remote instruction be made available for students who are not eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine and are under a quarantine order by the local public health department or the Illinois Department of Public Health. This ultimately means that all students will return to school fully in person for student attendance days. The only population that will be eligible for temporary remote services will be those students that are under quarantine and who are not eligible for the vaccination. So it's got to be both. That's very important. So grades 7th through 8th will not be eligible for any kind of remote instruction. Below that, those students under 12 years old are not eligible for the vaccination. Therefore, that's one criteria to receive remote instruction. And they both have to happen though. So that's one criteria. The second criteria is that they are under a quarantine, which means they're exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19. So it's got to be both of those. So that's going to be a small population of students, and it's most likely only going to be for about a 2-week period. So we are working on a plan to address that moving population of students. So there will not be the choice like last year where kids can sign up for hybrid or remote. This is per the state superintendent. So I just wanted to make sure we understood that aspect. The district is still working on how to provide that remote instruction, likely for the short periods of time, for students only under the quarantine. Currently, social distancing, contact tracing, cafeteria, social distancing, which is separate, transportation, and other guidance is still under development. Once these are finalized, the district will provide the in-person learning plan to the community via the website. So there's some moving parts still, and I just wanted you to know, we have a plan draft, but until we know how many can be in the cafeteria, right now it still says 6 foot. If you think about 750 kids in this school and we're social distancing and this is about the max, it's going to create some real hardships for us. So on Monday's webinar, they said they are really looking at ways to shorten that to 3 feet, but it's still being looked at to make sure they can do it safely. And some ideas discussed on this webinar were, yes, you could take off your mask while you eat, but you got to put it right back out. But nothing's official. It's still at 6 feet right now. So before I put out any kind of plan, I want to see if that gets finalized. I was pretty much ready and prepared to have a plan for the end of this month. That's what I wanted to do for the community. But with these things still kind of being up in the air, I want to see, and I'll do a screencast if I were recording, basically saying what I'm saying here for the community by the end of this week, so that we have this update readily available if anybody needs to hear it. So I just wanted to give an update on that briefly.
Thank you, Chris. Moving on with year-to-date financials. The financials are attached to the agenda for the public. Moving on with public comment. Char.
Okay. For those attending in person, public comment may be made in person. For those attending remotely, public comment was to be made in writing via electronic mail by 4 p.m. on June 22nd, 2021. One public comment in writing or in person is permitted per person. Also, please remember, public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. I do have one public comment that was written. Joanne Schaefer, resident. Thank you, board, and good evening. Thank you for opening the board meetings to the public tonight. It has been 15 months. Questions: why was $9,114 spent on Geek Park when we have a gym capable of holding families? I understand social distancing. You could have asked Morton and used their field for next to nothing. Same applies to RV and LT. This has been done before. I see a new contract for Mr. Rivera on the agenda this month. When was discussion by the board? They are the only ones able to direct this. You have not had an executive session for a year. This is the only place for discussion. When was an executive session held to discuss terminations, salary increases, lawsuits, disciplinary issues, personnel issues, contracts, evaluations, bonuses, etc.? These are direct violations of the Open Meeting Act and need to be addressed immediately. Have you received the COVID funds yet? And if so or not, how do you plan to use them for our children? I certainly hope you take the time as a board to ask questions, seek answers to items on the agenda. Vote honestly to benefit our children. Do not become a rubber stamp board. Thank you. I await your answer. And that is it for public comment as far as written.
Good evening, Tom Weiner, proud parent of a soon-to-be fourth grader. And it's good to see all these smiling faces. I'm going to assume you're all smiling underneath your mask. And it's fantastic that the schools are going to be in person at the beginning from day one. There are a few questions. A lot of people have been asking about before and after care. Now, I've used the after care before, and when my son was in kindergarten and first grade. many families in this district rely on before and after care for the students. Now, I know that's still in the works and all that, and I understand that, but the parents and the families need to know as soon as possible so they can make plans, so they can get their cousins or grandmothers or somebody to go and pick the kids up if there's no aftercare or before care. And I know you touched on the school lunches. That's another thing I was going to ask, because I still have like $50 in my son's account for pre-pandemic lunches. Hopefully we can work that out so the school lunches can be done safely in schools again. PTOs, I know that's going to be low on the list, but there's PTOs and PTAs at every school. What can the PTOs and PTAs do during the school year for functions and activities so the kids can, have fun after school? And the last thing I want to touch on is raises for school secretaries. It's been 3 years since the school secretaries have gotten raises. And if you've ever been in one of the schools, you know that the school secretaries are like the backbone of that school. They are the ones who make sure things get done. They are the ones who are looking after the students on a daily basis also. These ladies need raises. They deserve raises. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More public comment? Moving on with the consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda after amending item C188, Patricia Crowley, to the revised dates of work to 7/6/21 through 7/29/2021. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Any comment?
Okay,
Call the roll.
so that was Olivia, and then Sarah seconded. Olivia Quintero.
Yeah.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mario Ramirez.
Yes.
Juliana Alestis.
Yes.
Sarah Andreas.
Yes.
George Torres.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on, action item A. I'm looking for a motion to approve the addendum to the employment agreement between Board of Education of Lion School District 103 and Superintendent Rivera as presented. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments? Just so people know, based on what the superintendent does, this is a fair salary. And that provision protects both superintendent and district on these matters. That's why we're amending that contract. No comment. Call the roll.
Okay, that was Mario first and Olivia seconded. Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Juliana Alestis.
Yes.
Mario Ramirez.
Yes.
Sarah Andreas.
Yes.
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
George Torres.
Yes. Motion passes. I'm looking for a motion to adopt the resolution approving amended tentative budget and directing and ratifying publication of its availability as presented. Do I have a motion?
I like that motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Whatever. Do you have a comment? Any questions?
Okay, that was Mario and Winifred seconded that. Mario Ramirez.
Yes.
Juliana Alestis.
Yes.
Sarah Andreas.
Yes.
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
George Torres.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Moving on with action item C. I'm looking for a motion to approve the West 40 Regional Safe Schools Program intergovernmental agreement for 2021-2022 as presented. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, any questions? Any comments? Call the roll?
Okay, so that was Winifred and Sarah seconded. Juliana Alestius.
Yes.
Sarah Andreas.
Yeah.
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mario Ramirez.
Yes.
George Suarez.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on with action item D. I'm looking for a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with the Cook County Department of Public Health for conducting and interpreting Binance Now COVID-19 antigen testing through standing order and or extended CLIA waiver as presented. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any comments? Questions? Call the roll?
Okay, so that was Olivia and Mario. Juliana Alestius.
Yes.
Sarah Andreas.
Yeah.
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mario Ramirez.
Yes.
George Suarez.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on with action item E. Approval of new communication disorder teaching position in special education at George Washington Middle School. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the new communication disorder teaching position in special education at George Washington Middle School. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any questions? Call the roll?
Sarah Andreas.
Yes.
Olivia Quintero. Yes. Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mario Ramirez.
Yes.
Juliana Alestius.
Yes.
George Suarez.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on with action item F. I'm looking for a motion to approve that $3,200 salary increase for Dr. Carol Baker at George Washington Middle School Principal and Assistant Superintendent for the school year 2021-2022. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any questions? Call the roll?
Okay, so that was Mario and Olivia. Sarah Andreas.
Yes.
Olivia Quintero. Yes. Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mario Ramirez.
Yes.
Juliana Alestius. George Suarez.
Yes. Motion passes. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn at 7:19 PM.
I'll make that
Do I have a
motion.
motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second that. So that was Winifred and Olivia.
Call the roll?
Sorry. Olivia Quintero. Yes. Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mario Ramirez.
Yes.
Juliana Alestius. Sarah Andreas.
Yes.
George Suarez.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.